Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning all. Before the Honorable Mom Nadia Makmun as our beloved teacher in this course, respectable to all of you, to all my beloved friends, and hope this video can be useful for you. Amin. Okay, we are from second group, and in this presentation, we will discuss about listening strategies and listening as acquisition. There are 4 members or presenters who will explain each material in this presentation. For the first is Zainal Abidin, next me, Dinda Zahrotudinniyah, then Ade Afrilda, and the last Adelia Febriyanti. Now, I want to mention the contents that include in this presentation. For the first is listening strategies, which are include cognitive strategies and metacognitive strategies. Next, listening as acquisition, which are include noticing activities and restructuring activities. First of all, we will discuss about listening strategies. Strategies can be thought of as the ways in which a learner approaches and manages a task, and listeners can be thought effective ways of approaching and managing their listening. These activities seek to involve listeners actively in the process of listening. There are 2 strategies in the listening. For the first is cognitive strategies. These strategies include all activities that take place in the brain in order to acquire a foreign language. In this context is English language. And this strategy is concerned with memorizing. These activities include repetition, organizing new language, summarizing meaning, guessing meaning from context, and using imagery for memorization. These activities involve deliberate manipulation of language to improve learning. Next, there are 3 steps in cognitive strategy. For the first step is comprehension processes. This step includes getting information into memory. It requires paying attention to information and linking into existing knowledge. As existing knowledge here means previously known understanding. In order to make new information meaningful and thus easier to remember. Again, next, for the second step is storing and memory processes. This step includes memorizing the information. Memorizing the information for appropriate times. And the last step is using retrieval processes. Or this step includes access the information. This step is process of getting information out of the memory. In this part, you can access and retrieve or reuse the information that you need. Okay, for the next strategy will explain by Zainal Abidin. Time is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Zainal Abidin. In this video, I would like to continue the explanation about listening strategies. As we know, the listening strategies divide into two of strategies. The first is cognitive strategies and the second is metacognitive strategies. Now, I would like to explain about metacognitive strategies. What is metacognitive strategies? These conscious and unconscious mental activities that perform an executive function in the management of cognitive strategies. Metacognitive strategies are those used to manage, plan, and evaluate the use of cognitive strategy. In other words, they ask the listener to make a plan for learning, think about the occurring learning process, monitor the production and comprehension dynamically, and evaluate the learning upon the finish of an activity. It has rarely been applied to the research in listening instruction. It's this third of such listening instruction research that inspired the present study, which is just where the significance of this study lies. According to Flavel, metacognitive knowledge plays an important role in many cognitive activities related to language use. For example, oral comprehension or communication of information, reading comprehension, and writing, to language acquisition, and to various types of self-instructions. Existence of metacognitive knowledge provides basis for metacognitive experience, while for regulation of metacognitive strategy to happen, the learner is usually aware of being going to be involved in metacognition. There are four of metacognitive strategies. First, assessing the situation. Taking stock of conditions surrounding a language task by assessing one's own knowledge, one's available internal and external resources, and the constraints of the situation before engaging in a task. Second, monitoring. Determining the effectiveness of one's own or another's performance while engaged in a task. Third, self-evaluating. Determining the effectiveness of one's own or another's performance after engaging in the activity. Fourth, self-testing. Testing oneself to determining the effectiveness of one's own language used the like material.
Okay, I am Ade Afrilda. Here I will explain about noticing activities, but before we come to the noticing activities, we will discuss little about listening as acquisition. Okay, before that I will explain you the differences between comprehension and acquisition. Comprehension is the action or ability of understanding something, and acquisition is the development of a new skill, practice, or way of doing things. Listening as acquisition. The listening texts used are now used as the basis for speaking activities, making use of noticing activities, and restructuring activities. In the listening as acquisition, there are two part cycle of teaching activities. The first part is noticing activities, and the second part is restructuring activities. Okay, here I will explain you about the noticing activities. Noticing activities. When learners notice new language, they pay special attention to its form, use, and meaning. Noticing is regarded as an important part of the process of learning new language, especially in acquisition-driven accounts of language learning. Noticing activities involve returning to the listening text that serve as the basis for comprehension activities and using them as the basis for language awareness. So, when learners at some point in their acquisition notice their errors in production, noticing will only occur when the learner is ready to take on the new language. Example, a learner might make an error in the use of a preposition, but notice its correct use by another learner or in an authentic text. This might allow them to begin to use it correctly. Okay, now for example, students can listen again to a recording in order to. The first one we have identify differences between what they hear and a printed version of the text. After recognize contrast between what they listen and a printed version of the content, it is hoped that the errors that occur during listening activities will be reduced. The second, we have complete a closed version of the text. The third, we have complete sentences, stems taken from the text. So we completed from the original text. And the last one, we have check off entries from a list of expressions that occur in the text. So after checking the list of expression, this can make it easier for us to guess correctly the content of the original text when we do listening practice. Okay, I think enough. That's all from me. The next explanation will be delivered by the other members of the group. Okay, thank you.
I am Adelia Febriyanti. As the last speaker, I will explain about restructuring activities. Restructuring activities are oral or written texts that involve a productive use of selected items from the listening text. Such activities could include: number 1, pirate reading of the typed script in the case of conversational text. 2. Written sentence completion text requiring use of expression and other linguistic items that occurred in the text. Number 3. Dialogue practice that incorporates items from the text. Number 4. Role plays in which students are required to use key language from the text. The listening activities that accompany this text focus on listening for comprehension and on understanding details from the passage. Acquisition are the goal of a listening course, a two-part strategy in the classroom, teaching and instructional materials, namely Phase 1, listening as comprehension, use of the materials as discussed in the preceding section. Phase 2, listening as acquisition. The listening text used are now used as the basis for speaking activities, making use of noticing activities and restructuring activities. That is all a video presentation from group 2. More or less we apologize. Ask if anyone has any question, and thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.